I'm a matcha. It's 7 p.m. and I gotta drink my caffeine. Hello, my name is Rose. Welcome to the channel. Nice to see you. Yes, you. I hope you're well. Yes. Today we're going to chat about my top books of 2022. I know it's February, okay? I know it's February of 2023 and we don't need to talk about it. Good things take time. So this video is just going to be a synopsis of that. I'm going to keep it brief but exciting. Yeah. I'm going to read the book blurb if I have it to kind of just keep it brief. And then I'm going to say my own little tidbits about what I loved about it, why it's one of my top books of the year, and all that fun jazz. Last year, I read a total of 20 books. No, for some of you, you're like literally nothing. Like I read 20 books in a month. What is she proud of? But for me, it's a feat. You're no longer reading things that are not serving us or that we just like feel obligated to read, you know? And especially book talk. I appreciate that you're reading. Reading matters, no matter what book it is. I'm coming at you today with my childlike little, my little shroom, giving mushroom, and it's kind of cute. Yeah. There's so much to uncover about reading that I feel like we can forget sometimes because we get so caught up in the next best thing or just what sounds good and what's exciting. So I'm really just thankful and excited that I made it through 20 books. And this year I set a goal of 25, but I'll probably read more. But let's get into it. Here are my top books that I read last year. My first book that I read this year was Finding Me, a memoir by Viola Davis, who is now an EGOT winner. Can we just? You better. Yes, Miss Ma'am. Yes, Miss Ma'am. She has won her Grammy, sis, and it was for this book, which I listened to the audiobook, highly recommend. Follows her upbringing and just tells her whole story, and it's so vivid, thorough, and heartbreaking, but also uplifting. It's literally everything and then some that I wanted in a memoir, and it's read by her. So it also just feels like you're sitting across from the table. It feels so intimate. It feels like she's just holding a conversation with you and really just telling you what's what. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was stunning. I thought it was elegant. I thought it was eloquent. And it was just genuinely beautifully written. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for something that is engulfing and enthralling and just very intimate. There's not another word that I can use to describe it, but it's just very vivid and imaginative and intimate, and it's just beautiful. The next book I read was Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cottom. And this book sent me. You know what I mean? It genuinely sent me. I'm going to say this now, but it is the renaissance of books. It is a life-changing cultural moment. It is a got to read it, gotta have it. It is for you, it is for us, and it's by us. Us to remember how much we matter and how much we're cared for in a time and a place where it wasn't built for that. So, life-changing. But Tressie put her foot, heart, and soul into this book. It bounces between scholarly writing and a more personal essay style. It outlines Black culture, feminism, Black feminism, and genuinely just gives the energy of a love for Black existence. As a Black woman, I think it's a must read. As a person, I think it's a must read, and I think it's one of those books that is forever changing our world and our culture and able to speak to it. So please read it. Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cottom. Remember that name. Sociologist. Remember her name, okay? Another favorite that I read this year was the Brown Sisters trilogy by Talia Hibbert. What can I say? Our girl know how to give it. and do it. Yeah. So to summarize the series, because there are 3 books and it outlines 3 sisters and it goes through each of their individual stories. So there's Chloe Brown, there's Danny Brown, and there's Eve Brown. But the series synopsis is it's a series of heartwarming, inclusive, body-positive romances. The Brown sisters will capture your heart. The first novel follows Chloe Brown, a plus-size Black British woman with chronic illness who is confident, sharp, sarcastic, and brilliant as she reclaims her life. The second novel follows Danny after she asks the universe for the perfect friend with benefits, someone who knows the score and knows their way around the bedroom. The third one is Eve Brown, certified hot mess. No matter how hard she strives to do right, her life always goes horribly wrong, so she's given up trying. But when her personal brand of chaos ruins an expensive wedding, her parents draw the line. It's time for Eve to grow up and prove herself, even though she's not entirely sure how. All 3 of them, love them all. I definitely want to kind of reread them because I feel like I read them all pretty back to back, so some things just like mesh together for me. But I definitely love Danny Brown. Like a hint, Danny Brown, I definitely remember that one the most. And they're not a series that like you need to read in order or anything like that. But I did love Get a Life Chloe Brown too. After Age Eve Brown, I listened to the audiobook, so I feel like I'm not retaining it as much as I could. But I really enjoyed all of them. I think Talia has a great writing style that she writes in a way that's like so inviting to each of the characters and so well thought out and thorough, and also just like gives some realistic like steam. Like I think like sometimes when it comes to romance and steamy scenes that there's the potential of it just like being too much like in the wrong ways, but for her it's like so much right in the right ways. So it's truly amazing. Like I feel like in the same way I think about romance and horror, like to be able to like evoke such a strong like emotion through literature is so crazy to me. So I really love these books and I highly recommend them. I also recommend reading them like in the summer. Like I read them in the summer months and I feel like it made such like a vibe different. But the next book I read that I really loved was How the Word is Passed, A Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America by Clint Smith. So I came across this book after I read Somebody's Daughter by Ashley C. Ford, because I think it's at the end of her audiobook she has a podcast like episode mentioned him writing this book. So I was just like, yes, it's a must. The blurb is a deeply researched and transporting exploration of the legacy of slavery and its imprint on centuries of American history. How the Word is Passed illustrates how some of our country's most essential stories are hidden in plain view, whether it's places we might drive by on our way to work, holidays such as Juneteenth, or entire neighborhoods like downtown Manhattan where the brutal history of the trade and enslaved men, women, and children has been deeply imprinted. Informed by scholarship and brought to life by the story of people living today, Smith's debut work on nonfiction is a landmark of reflection and insight that offers a new understanding of the hopeful role that memory and history can play in making sense of our country and how it has come to be. It was so good and so like eye-opening, again in ways of just like piecing things together that like I don't often piece together. It felt like a documentary listening to it on an audiobook, and it felt like you were like watching him move through these places and through these plantations and meeting these people and interviewing these people, and it just felt so visual despite it being an audiobook. Transportational, very exploratory. So I highly recommend it and definitely think you should check it out. So another book that I read that definitely came at the right time was Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear, which was kind of sporadic, especially compared to, I feel like I read pretty scholarly, like heavy, like books. Like Viola Davis's memoir, although beautiful, elegant, breathtaking, was also like, oh, girl, what you doing? She done been through it. She done been through the trenches. Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear by Elizabeth Gilbert. I've heard about this book for some time. One of my friends recently read it and suggested it to me, and I've had it on my want to read on Goodreads for a while, but finally got around to it this year, and I listened to the audiobook, which I also highly recommend. This beloved author digs deep into her own generative process to share her wisdom and unique perspective about creativity. With profound empathy and radiant generosity, she offers potent insights into the mysterious nature of inspiration. She asks us to embrace our curiosity and let go of needless suffering. She shows us how to tackle what we love most and how to face down what we most fear. She discusses the attitudes, approaches, and habits we need in order to live our most creative lives, balancing between soulful spirituality and cheerful pragmatism. Gilbert encourages us to uncover the strange jewels that are hidden within each of us. Whether we are looking to write a book, make art, find new ways to address challenges in our work, embark on a dream long deferred, or simply infuse our everyday lives with more mindfulness and passion, Big Magic cracks open a world of wonder and joy. And it did just that for me. It was a very explore your curiosity, you can do anything, self-helpy kind of book. And I feel like if that catches you at the wrong time, it won't be what you need, and you won't take it in the same ways. But for me, it caught me at the right time where I was kind of just in a slump and I was just overthinking a lot of things, and some great resources and tips and things to kind of ruminate and resonate on. First off, which I can't find my other book, but it is the Steal Like an Artist series by Austin Kleon. So this one, I think, is the first one. I think now there's more than 3, but I have 3 of them. And I don't remember the third one's name. But this one is Still Like an Artist, 10 Things Nobody Told You About Being Creative. And kind of just on the back, it breaks down all the chapters. And then this one is Share Like an Artist, or Show Your Work. Oh, maybe Share Like an Artist is the next one. I don't remember. This series is just, again, it could probably fall under the self-help kind of category if it wanted to, but I think as an artist, as a designer, it's definitely a inspirational read, and it can help to simplify and calm the imposter syndrome and the overthinking that can occupy us quite consistently. They're just really good books, and they're very sweet and to the point, or short and to the point of, just nothing crazy going on page-wise, very small pages, very digestible, which I think also makes it a very inviting way to approach problem solving in that way. So, one of my favorites from this past year. Yes. Okay, next I have Americana, which I feel like I've talked about in multiple videos, but was definitely one of my favorites from last year. Chimamanda is such an amazing writer. And this book was dense, though. It was definitely maybe the longest book I read last year, 600 pages, and it took me years to get through. I started reading it in 2019, and I finished last year, which part of that was because I was graduating college and, doing adult things, working full-time, and just not making it a priority as much to read. But now that I actually have the time to sit with it and to be with it, continued to amaze me, continued to be one of the most beautiful books that I've read, and just so good. If you haven't heard about this, I don't know what you're doing. It's been around for a while. 2013, so it's several years old. It follows Ifemelu from Nigeria. She's moved to the States, and it's a love story. It's a finding yourself story. It's a little bit of everything, and it's everything you want in a book. And it's definitely something that I want to reread, because I feel like as I've dwelled on it more, there's little bits and pieces that will pop up, and I'll be well, how did that connect to this? And just so many things to again ruminate on. Another book that I really loved before I get to my last book was Hood Feminism: Notes from the Women That a Movement Forgot. So let me read the blurb. This book is by Mickey Kendall. Today's feminist movement has a glaring blind spot, and paradoxically, it is women. Mainstream feminists rarely talk about meeting basic needs as a feminist issue, argues Mickey Kendall. but food insecurity, access to quality education, safe neighborhoods, a living wage, and medical care are all feminist issues. All too often, however, the focus is not on basic survival for the many, but on an increasing privilege for the few. That feminists refuse to prioritize these issues has only exacerbated the age-old problem of both internecine discord and women who rebuff at carrying the title. Moreover, prominent white feminists broadly suffer from their own myopia with regard of how things like race, class, sexual orientation, and ability intersect with gender. How can we stand in solidarity as a movement, Kendall asked, when there is distinct likelihood that some women are oppressing others? So, as you maybe can tell, this book is all about feminism and really has awoken my spirit to a lot of just awareness of self, awareness of others, awareness of movements, awareness of media. There's a lot of ideas that the book has touched on for me that I feel like it just makes me critically analyze and think more about how these things are impacting me, even down to my relationships with some of my friends. Must read in terms of just questioning how movements form, how movements exist, and who movements are for. Okay, last book that I'm going to talk about is Hanif Abdurraqib's They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us essays. This book is just one of my favorite books. There's not a conversation, really. This book is about music. This book is about life. This book is about love. This book is about impact, relationships, culture, Black men, Black people, Black women. It is about so many things and everything. And for me, it was just very impactful, very prolific, very inquiring. I feel like there's every buzzword that I could say to write about it or to say about it, I would say. I think the way that he approaches each essay with somewhat of a music, not even somewhat, he approaches each personal essay as through a music loving lens, I think really just spoke to me, because it reminded me how much and how strongly and how impacted I am by music, much you can associate with it throughout your experiences, throughout your life, throughout when the song came out, what the song was about. It's always so much deeper than just a song or just a moment or just a music video. I will say this book is for the music lovers. Music and just music, not a specific genre, not a specific type, but for those people that really feel something when they listen to music and really associate it with something and are impacted by it. Chapter about Carly Rae Jepsen and his love for Carly Rae Jepsen and going to his concert, and another chapter about The Weeknd and his kind of dislike for The Weeknd, and I'm same. Really in-depth, beautiful way of viewing all of these music-related topics and culture and politics, and everything's through a certain lens. It impacted me, and it's really good. Okay? God, let's read it, please. Thank you so much for watching. That wraps up my favorite top books of 2022 of last year. This year was a little bit of everything, so I really just had a good time. And I will be actually filming my TBR and talking through my bookshelf here somewhat soon. So much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm excited to keep my book content going. Sending you lots of love, always and forever. I hope you enjoy these books as much as I did. Let me know if you read them. Let me know what some of your favorites were in the comments. I think that's it. Bye. See you guys next time.